In the journey of finding true love, a crucial principle is, don't idealize the other person. Idealization means viewing others through a perfect filter, shaping them into the image of an ideal partner in our minds. However, this approach often leads to deep disappointment. The more expectations we have for our partners, the harder it becomes to find someone who fully meets those standards. In reality, we often don't clearly understand our own true needs, but instead project these vague needs onto others, forming a greedy list, wanting this and that, seemingly endless. The end result is that we not only gain nothing but also fall into deep pain and confusion, questioning our own judgment and discernment. Little do we know that the source of all this is our use of idealization as a defense mechanism in dealing with love. The defense mechanism of idealization can be traced back to our early childhood experiences. In the initial stages of life, we tend to idealize our caregivers to help establish secure attachment relationships. However, if during this critical period, caregivers fail to respond to our needs promptly, adequately, and consistently, or if their behavior is unstable or even harmful to us, we will be unable to internalize this part of the experience and gain a sense of self-certainty and stability from it. As a result, our psychological state becomes overly dependent on the pursuit of idealization. For example, a child growing up in a single-parent family or in a cold, repressive family environment due to emotional neglect from parents finds it difficult to complete self-differentiation during the growth process and become a psychologically mature individual. Their psychological age may remain at the stage where early needs were not adequately met. When these individuals enter the realm of intimate relationships as adults, they often place themselves in the position of a child, hoping to find ideal parents to compensate for early emotional trauma. Once they discover that their partner doesn't match the ideal image in their mind, they feel deeply disappointed and frustrated. Especially for those with a lower degree of self-differentiation, their behavior is more driven by emotions rather than reason. This means they can only accept their partner's strengths and cannot tolerate their weaknesses. This is why some people are full of hope at the beginning of a relationship, but become miserable later on, always feeling that their partner is inferior in every way and blaming themselves for misjudging. The reason is that from the moment they idealized the other person, they were destined to experience devaluation and attacks after disillusionment in the relationship. Therefore, many times, the reason we can't find an ideal partner is not because of untimely fate or bad luck, but because of our own tendency to idealize. When we meet someone and see their shining points, such as love's cleanliness and neatness, we start to idealize them, imagining that they will become the perfect spouse in the future. However, when reality collides with fantasy and we discover that the other person is not as perfect as imagined, the anger and self-blame that come with the collapse of idealization follow. But in fact, if we could calmly examine from an outsider's perspective, stepping out of the victim mentality, we would realize that the crux of the problem lies not in the other person's qualities, nor in our own stupidity, but in the fact that we never viewed the other person as a complete individual, but fantasized them as an omnipotent deity, and then used this fantasy to judge others in reality. Many people, due to an extreme lack of nurturing love from childhood, have a profound sense of deficiency deep inside. They have long been in a state of needing to satisfy their emotional needs by idealizing others, like hungry infants waiting for idealized parents to comfort them. However, a person who is extremely lacking in love, if they only remain at the level of feeling their own lack of love without deeply exploring and understanding the underlying reasons for this lack, will never be able to clearly see where their true needs lie. They only know they lack love, but have no clue about what specifically they lack and how to satisfy this need. In this state, they can only hope to seek satisfaction from others, repeatedly hitting walls in relationships. What standards do those lacking love follow in choosing partners? They tend to choose people who can give them unconditional love, those who initially show extremely high compliance and seem able to meet all their needs. However, this choice often leads to an unfortunate result. Such people often lack responsibility and ability. Because a responsible, capable adult will not unconditionally meet all the needs of another person, as they have their own will and boundaries. Those who unconditionally satisfy and comply with you in the early stages often fear conflict internally and lack inner strength. When you enter marriage and face responsibilities and pressures in life, these people are likely to choose to escape or rely on their mothers to solve problems for them. Therefore, if we want to have a healthy, lasting relationship or choose a truly suitable partner, the first thing we need to do is overcome the tendency to idealize. How can we achieve this? The most direct and effective method is to deeply explore what our most genuine inner needs are. If the other person can meet your important needs and has a good personality foundation, then their other imperfections should be understood and accepted. True love is not about finding a perfect partner, but about growing together and moving forward hand in hand based on understanding and accepting each other's imperfections. Do you understand? On the path of love, letting go of idealization and embracing reality is the key to happiness. If you enjoyed this series, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Your free likes are the greatest encouragement for me. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.